Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Flush Out the Funk. My name is Jen Quaid. I'm a holistic nurse, a healer, and I have a lot of passions, music and movement and ceremony and a lot of things, everything around health and growth and wellness and the journey of the soul. And I'm here with Karri Tidwell. Do you want to give a little brief introduction?
Yeah, my name's Karri Tidwell, and I'm a regenerative detoxification specialist and a mama, and have a huge passion for helping people understand body's warning signs and root causes, and yeah, understanding our symptoms and what they're trying to say, and yeah, explaining how the body works, and yeah, I'll share more of my story as I share more. But thank you.
And Sharri, I'm going to just pop on real quick and say hello.
I'm Sharri Keller, herbalist, astrologer, mom, photographer, lover of life, and yeah, connecting earth and sky. And yeah, I'll share about that much for now. Happy to be here.
So, we're here today for this masterclass called Flush Out the Funk, and we are going to share with you over 50 years of combined wisdom and inspiration about regenerative health, about cleansing. I'm going to even talk about ancestral diet and nutrition, which also includes like meat and eggs. So, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about enzymes, and we're basically here because it's just about spring. And spring is like the ideal moment of the year to be cleansing and taking care of our bodies. And the reason that this even was created is because we have come upon this really revolutionary approach to cleansing using these amazing enzyme technology. And I woke up a couple weeks ago and I thought, everybody needs to know about this because it's really incredible, like ancient technology, alchemy to clean out the body in a super efficient way. I've been on the path of healing and cleansing and building and detoxing and all these things for 15 years or so. And this is a pretty cool approach. So Sharri, do you mind pulling? Actually, before we get into the slides, I am curious if everyone could put in the chat, why did you come here? Maybe there's one word, or maybe there's an intention or something going on in your body. Like, why are you here today? Curious about regenerative health, wanting to get healthier, feeling sluggish, like I want my body to feel better and alive again, facing a job loss, body's carrying a lot of stress. Intuition brought you here, good one. Learning new things, knowledge, here to learn, healing, constipation, continuing after a detox, staying cancer free, struggling to detox physically, emotionally. We've got keep the cleanse going. Would love to hear thoughts about clearing out the funk, gaining and giving support, curious about detoxing and cleansing, but it feels overwhelming. Help the community heal and understanding the power of their temple. Yeah, this is amazing. I came here to learn more about cleansing and detoxing the liver. So this is all stuff we're going to approach. And really, I think at the root of it for me, for Sharri, for Karri, we all see the body as the temple. We recognize that we are souls having a human experience in this sacred meat suit versus humans having a spiritual experience. And so when we take care of the body, we're also taking care of our flow of energy and our spirit, and we can be more creative. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to create, we're here to live a joyful life. And so many of us are bogged down by symptoms and stress, and we're going to talk all about that today. So Sharri, will you pull up the slides and we'll kind of give them an idea of what we're going to share about? Learning more about the gut and the mind. It's all connected for sure. I'm excited. So you're here for Flush Out the Funk. Kind of a silly name. That's fun. Um, Go on to the next slide. So Karri is going to teach about regenerative health principles. Sharri is going to share about why this right now is the time for cleansing, different herbal supports for the spring that are going to pop up in your own yard, and the healing power of enzymes. I'm going to go into ancestral healing diet and how to read your body based on traditional health wisdom. And we'll introduce you to this revolutionary cleanse protocol that has inspired us to create this class and support your health journey. So on that note, Karri.
Thanks, Jen. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for taking the time. So most of us, come into the work we're doing because of something that we were struggling with. And so I've been struggling with my health, or was for, 20 years, trying to figure out getting to the root cause and understanding the body. And I got into this because I had, excess weight, I had digestive stuff, I had chronic inflammation and pain. It was debilitating. I remember when I was in school for massage when I was 19, I had a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. And when I did, my back would go out on me sometimes. And I remember one time in class, I had to like lay flat because I couldn't walk. And I was like, God, this is so weird that it's happening to me so young. And as I got in my 30s, I still had more chronic pain. And I felt like, like when you get out of bed and you're like hunched over because you can't really stand up straight, or I don't know if that's happened to you, but that was happening to me. And I felt like I was 90 in my 30s. And I was like, there's no way I should feel this old, this young. And I had lots of symptoms. I'll kind of go throughout this talk here of what was presenting. But really what I want to share is to empower that our body can heal, and we can heal once we understand the symptoms and what they're trying to communicate with us. And so I have so much gratitude for regenerative health and this awareness, because it gives me the tools to come back to getting to the root cause. And so before I go into all of that, I just kind of want to lay the foundation of kind of how we got here, why we're seeing so many chronic conditions and illnesses, and things are going on the rise. Like, we're seeing more and more people having the cancer diagnosis. I saw someone put that in the comments of wanting to avoid cancer, and we have been programmed to fear these diseases, or these labels that they give these diseases of. And I remember being in that space too, like, oh my gosh, I remember hearing about family member having cancer and feeling like, how did that happen? Or how did they get it? Or did they catch it? Like, how does this work? And we've been programmed to fear of that, and kill everything and suppress and stop the symptoms. And when our body has a cold or flu-like symptom, it's our body's way of trying to self-clean and self-repair. And I love the perspective of these symptoms are presenting in a healthy way to an unhealthy environment. And so when we shift our perspective of, okay, the symptom is trying to communicate something with me, we can, seek to ask, why is this happening? And on the screen here, you'll see like the antibiotics and all the medications. And this can, while have their place and they're so helpful for so many things, they also can lead to more complications. And I witnessed this with our dad, and he was on one medication that led to other things, and which inspired me to ask, why is this happening to him? Or how did he get here? We were in the hospital all the time, back and forth. And he was never getting better. It was just like he would take one medication, and that medication caused complications, so he'd have to take another one. And I didn't see this as like we're deficient in medications. I saw this as the whole system didn't align with me. I was like, there's got to be a natural way of really understanding why this is happening, which inspired me to ask why. And how could this have been prevented? And what can I do to be proactive in my health, which led me further on my path, witnessing that, and then having symptoms young, being presented, that I was like, I know this isn't normal. There's got to be another way. All right, you can go to the next slide. And one of the foundational principles is what we don't eliminate, we accumulate in the body. And you can go to the next one. So I know a lot of people here probably don't eat like the photo on the left, but I grew up eating a lot of that kind of stuff, minus the soda. But I ate a lot of processed food, fast food, all the cereals, got marketed to us on the commercials. I remember being like, yeah, I want to go get Lucky Charms and, Frosted Flakes and all those things. So I've eaten a lot of that stuff growing up because we just didn't know any better. I was definitely addicted to sugar and Little Debbie brownies, and I for sure use food as a comfort thing, and it was like the sweetness I was looking for in life that I wasn't having. And so just like all those symptoms that I was talking about I had, can manifest their emotional stuff, and I was suppressing them, not realizing I was doing that as a child, but that was my coping mechanism, and that was what I had available. And so what we don't eliminate, we start to accumulate in the body. And you can go to the next slide. And as we get older, and if we've eaten these ways for a long time, and we don't take time to clean the terrain, clean the trash out, that can get, if we were to use it as an example in our house, if we never took time to clean our house, never took time to take out the trash or the old stuff, it wouldn't be a very pleasant place to live. You can go to the next slide. And so our bodies can present so many different symptoms, right? I like to use the analogy of a car. Like our body is our vehicle while we're here, and our temple while we're here. And so many symptoms can be common, but not normal. So I like to say, what check engine lights have been coming on for you? Like, what are you noticing presenting in your body, whether it's, constipation or low energy or anxiousness or depression, excess weight or hormonal imbalance. Like, all of these can be just signals that there's a check engine light on. And instead of just treating it like if someone's constipated and you just take laxatives, that's not really getting to the root cause. That might just help move things, but is that addressing the underlying issue? And so if we're having these signs and symptoms and it's chronic and it's not getting better, that can lead to further things. So like, an example of how our body is amazing at healing, just like you cut your finger. If you cut your finger, if you don't even have to do anything, your body knows how to heal itself. But if you keep cutting that finger in the same spot every day, it causes that inflammatory response, and it doesn't have the right environment to heal. Just like my back, for example, I had sciatica and low back stuff all the time. And I was like, why isn't it healing? Why isn't it getting better? Same with digestive stuff. If it's all about the environment that we give internally in the terrain, which we'll be talking about, of giving it the best environment for it to thrive. So I'm going to share a little bit about anatomy, physiology, take this complex subject and make it really simple to understand. Our body is roughly comprised of 100 trillion cells, and there's two major fluids. The blood feeds our cells, and the lymphatic system is responsible for cleaning the cells. So we have a bunch of cells that make up our kidneys, our liver, our organs, endocrine glands, and we need the blood to feed it, which is about 20% of the fluid-based system, but the lymph fluids are 4 times bigger than the blood, and nobody really talks about the lymphatic fluids. And this is responsible for getting all of the cellular waste out. And so in order for our body to function optimally, we need to make sure that we can digest, absorb, utilize, and eliminate properly. And a lot of people aren't doing those things, not because it's their fault, but their body is not functioning optimally because of what we've accumulated maybe from past. And when our elimination pathways are blocked, that's when congestion can happen. And so, for example, for cysts and tumors, like, it's not a mystery how they appear, how they're there. It's just there's a blockage in the lymphatic system, and that's what causes that. So, for an example, my dad used to get these big boils on his back, and I remember wondering how that got there. And he had major kidney stuff. And our lymphatic channel, one of our main elimination pathways is through the lymph system out to get the cellular waste out through the urine. And if that system is backed up, this is where cysts, boils, tumors, all these things can form and cause obstructions to that flow of the sewage waste in our body. And so one of my favorite equations is V equals P minus O, which stands for vitality equals power minus obstruction. And so this is from a book called The Mucusless Diet Healing System from Professor Arnold Ehret, who really explained, and he was able to cure himself from incurable diseases in the early 1900s by changing his diet of eating foods that don't produce more congestion and mucus in the body. So there's certain foods that produce more mucus and certain foods that help the body to get rid of that. And so once we, remove the obstructions to the flow of energy, everything starts to flow and work the way it's supposed to. So I'm smiling because we did a live blood analysis, and this was a photo from a friend who we just couldn't stop laughing because, as you can see, one of the cells in there is looking a little sad. And it's that we did not put that there. That's just how it was. And we could not stop laughing. But and for cells to look and function the best, they need to be, you know, in a well hydrated, well oxygenated, like alkaline environment. You know, if there's more acidic chemistry, because the blood has to be 7.4 pH. If it's, you know, too acidic, it steals base chemistry to neutralize itself. And so it always wants to keep us in balance and keep us alive. And so, yeah, these cells are clumped together, so they're a little dehydrated. So we want to see the cells and have the spaces around the cells. So the importance of having a healthy environment for those cells to thrive. So all of our little cells are relying on us to take care of them and have this well-hydrated, oxygenated environment for them to thrive. And tending to the terrain is such a huge piece of getting to the root cause, because once we understand what makes a cell healthy and what causes damage to a cell, we can, you know, clean up the terrain. So if there's old stuff that, you know, has been sitting in our system for a long time and we've never changed the oil, this is the importance of tending to the terrain. I like to say genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So no matter what you're genetically predisposed to, like my dad's doctor told me I was going to have diabetes and heart failure and all of these things that my dad had. And I was like, no, because I'm going to choose a different environment. I learned about epigenetics and I was like, I can choose a different path. And so really empowering us to know that we can choose a different pathway. And so just like we're seeing on the micro level, on the macro level, we're seeing this with our soils are being dehydrated, depleted, not having the best environment. So when we're, you know, spraying all these chemicals, we might think, yes, we can maybe feed more people because we can produce more food, but it's harming us. Same with like quick fixes. I could take this supplement or I could take this medication, but really not understanding getting to the root. And this can even happen too with natural remedies, like, right? We could take these natural remedies to stop these symptoms, but not if we're not addressing the root cause, we can still have depletion. This photo was taken on the left in Mexico, and I see photos of like the pollution with the oceans. I've heard about it, but it was one thing to actually like be swimming in it. It just hit me in a different way. As I was in the ocean, plastic hit me and I was like, that was weird. And then another piece came and I'm like, okay, I'm not just going to watch this like go by me. So I started picking up plastic, and there was a guy in the ocean that saw me doing it and he got inspired and started picking up stuff. And it was like I was at a point where I felt so overwhelmed because there was so much, I couldn't get it all. And he looked at me and he's like, man, if everybody out here just did their part, we could really clean up the ocean. And that really hit me of, yeah, I can do my part. And if we all just took the time to really listen to our body symptoms and cleaned our internal waters, we could really make a difference, because we can show up in the best way with our gifts, because we all have such a huge piece of the puzzle and uniqueness about us that can contribute to overall well-being of ourselves and the planet and just the way we show up. And so when we feel better, we can show up in our best way. And so that was just and then once we clean the waters, we start to feel better. And if we all do that, it really makes a huge shift. And while there are many different ways of eating and staying healthy, no matter what diet or lifestyle you follow, cleansing from time to time is extremely important. Just to share an example, I was in school for health coaching and I thought I was doing all the right things. I'm like, I'm eating organic. I know where my meat and eggs come from when I was eating that way. And I was eating as healthy as I could. And I still was having these symptoms. I was doing all the nourishing things I thought I knew how, but it wasn't until I started to clean the terrain and like get rid of this old stuff that my body was able to function better. And I was able to like wake up with energy and wake up not hunched over and have that. I didn't have the pain. I didn't have the digestive stuff. And I've done really extreme cleanses and fast, and I've done stuff that's really nourishing and balanced. So I went to the extreme of cleansing and was like, everybody needs to do it this way. And I went through a phase of like over cleansing where you can do it too much, where you have to have that nourishing piece. And so there's a balance and there is an art to it, no matter where you're coming from. And that's what I've learned throughout the years, and why I'm so excited to share what we're going to share here, because it's accessible to everybody and not as extreme as what I did, but very effective. And you can go to the next one. And yeah, and there's different paths that we can all choose, and there's many paths for health and healing. And one main thing that we all have in common with different ways is to control the chemistry that we bring in. So what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe, and what we put on our skin and our thoughts is how we bring the outside chemistry in. And so, I remember learning this information a long time ago, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything wrong. Like, I have to change my soap, my deodorant, my toothpaste, like all these toxins. And we do live in a world that has so much available. We live in excess of so much, and we have to have our discernment to choose like different items that are grown in a good way, or products that are void of these chemicals, so we can reduce our toxic load. And also our thoughts is such a huge role. We can really, change the chemistry of our blood just by what we think in our body, and the waters of our own internal being by our thoughts. Veda Austin is an amazing person at sharing about that with the water, if you're ever wanting to dive into that more. And bringing enzyme-rich fruits and vegetables is another way to help to clean the internal terrain. So sometimes if you're like, okay, where do I start? Sometimes just by bringing in more hydrating, alkalizing foods is such an easy thing to add in, and start to pay attention to what your body is saying with symptoms. So if there's something that keeps coming around, it's trying to tell you something. It's trying to say, yeah, there's an underlying issue. And so, for example, if somebody's thyroid isn't functioning optimal, instead of just treating the thyroid, I always say, why isn't the thyroid functioning optimal? Or what's going on with the adrenal glands? It could be the suppression from the lymphatic system, that the sewage is backed up. And so once we clean the sewage, we can start to remove the waste, so that we give the environment for the cell to function optimally. And so cleaning our internal terrain is such a huge piece of regenerative health and healing. And yeah, I think that you can go to the next one. And yeah, and we're here to live in vitality, and you don't see, animals with all the same, sicknesses and illnesses that we have, because they're living in alignment with nature and their environment. And so when an animal is sick, they go to fasting, to remove, to clean their body out, and they know what herbs to go to. And so I'm excited for my sister to share the importance of all of that, and why now is such a good time. Why now? And and I can share more. I'll be sharing more about the cleanse too towards the end, but I want to pass it to Sharri of like why now is the right time, and why springtime is the perfect time for all this information.
Great. Thank you, Karri. You've been such an inspiration and monumental figure in my life. And it's, because of your passion and interest, like we all get to receive this information. So thank you for introducing us to these regenerative practices and this particular cleanse, because it has been revolutionary for myself. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for showing up for yourselves. And so I'm an astrologer, herbalist, and I kind of got into herbalism in 2015. Before that, I was always into health and healing and natural cleansing and doing different juice fasts and things. And when I hit my Saturn return at 28, my photography business was breaking down, or like me and my business partner were going in separate ways, and I had to do some real soul searching, like what lights me up, what fuels me. I'm like, all right, I have to follow my passion for natural healing. Thus, I started to take some workshops and herbs, and my first one that I went to, I just felt this like warmth and glow in my heart that it actually brought me to tears, because like, this is where I should be. Like, I know this is important. And from there, I studied with Jessica Belden, who's a folk herbalist, and I apprenticed with Lise Wolf, who's a clinical herbalist, and Seja Popham at the School of Evolutionary Herbalism, which, introduced me. The plants brought me to the stars, which is kind of interesting. And then ended up doing a 3-year certification in evolutionary astrology. And voila, I love, connecting and orienting ourselves in time and space, in earth and our bodies. And with the celestial energies. And I'm really happy to share with you now why now is a really good time to take initiative and to take charge and to heal yourself. So let's see. There we go. So we're coming out of this place where there's been a lot of destruction of the establishments, of what was known. We all experienced 2020 and had our own reevaluation of our values and what's important to us and how we want to live and operate. And there's always a lot going on in the world and a lot to process. And so we have this like decomposition of the old that's happening. And we see that in the external world, and we feel that within ourselves. We also have this other part, which is the futuristic and the technology and the advancements and this great unknown that is expanding so fast. And it's like, how do we reconcile both the worlds? What do we keep from the old? And what do we want to take in from the new? And it's really a time to like dream. We have all this Piscean energy that's available to us to like really dream the new dream, because we're in this luau place. And how do we do that? We do that by going within ourselves and really tuning into our hearts and our higher self and taking action. You know, the North Node is in Aries and Chiron there, and it's really calling us to initiate what we need for healing. Like, what do we need? Who are we? What are our boundaries? All this stuff. So it's really about aligning ourselves with our highest truth. And we're attuning to our instincts. We're releasing old patterns in relationships and people pleasing and all these things. And we're really coming into our own. This is the energy of the time right now. And it's kind of intense, but also beautiful at the same time. And there can come up like frustration, anger, pain, but those things are tools to help us navigate and prompt for healing. And it's important for us right now to establish healthy boundaries and to be actively pursuing healing, whether that's with a cleanse or with Qigong or yoga or whatever it is. We're being called to really like learn some new healing techniques so we can become more solid in ourselves and knowing who we are. So like, as Karri was saying, so we can show up in the world in a better way. And this is really, what we feel it's happening. And then the other big thing that's kind of happening in the sky is this creative renaissance energy. Jupiter and Uranus are conjoining. It's a 13-year cycle. It's in Taurus. I don't want to be, you could talk about that a lot, but I want to hone in on how it's affecting us in our physical body, because it's in Taurus, which has to do with our physical body and this incarnation and our vessel. And Jupiter wants to expand, and Uranus wants to bring that higher mind consciousness. So we're being called to upgrade our consciousness, where the higher mind meets the physical, expanding our mind-body connection and expression, like how we express ourselves, developing our faith in what is possible. So this is happening actually April 20th, when we're going to be doing the guided cleanse, which is an amazing just lineup. I'm really excited about that. And it's just, blowing my mind. So as above, so below, as within, so without. We're connected to the cosmos, to everything, whether we're aware of it or not. You know, the moon pulls the tides of the waters, and we're made of a lot of water, and we get pulled with these tides. And I don't necessarily know how, or I don't even pretend to know how, but I just know that there is this deep connection that we have to these celestial currents. And it's pretty amazing. And so I like to ride the waves of these celestial currents, kind of like surfing, you know, or knowing the weather of what's to come. And the weather right now is saying, take care of yourself. Like, now is the time. And today we have the spring equinox, which is pretty amazing lineup too, you know, where the night and day are equal, where this balance of masculine, feminine, the dream and action. And as we propel forward, it's Aries season. It's that divine spark, like lighting us up. Like, how can we take care of ourselves? How can we claim our space in the world? And I think I had one more thing I wanted to say. So we want to take advantage of the momentum of this moving, this initiatory feeling, this pioneering energy of like forging a new path. And yes. And so that brings us to our connection to the earth and the springtime and the season that we're in. And the spring ephemeral plants come up in this time of year, and to me it's my favorite. It just brings me so much joy and happiness because these little friends they're packed with so much healing power. And when we work with these wild plants, that haven't been tended to and watered and everything, they have a different kind of intelligence because they're adapting to the forces of nature, and they're withstanding the test of time and the cold and the heat, and just the resilience that they have to be alive and exist is just amazing and beautiful. And to be able to work with them is such a gift and an honor. So I wanted to share just 5 plants that, come up in the spring that are really good to tune into. So dandelion, everybody knows. Some people love, or I hope most people love, some people not so much. But so the roots work with the roots work with the liver and metabolism, and the leaves work with the kidneys and the urinary system. So you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers even, you could put it on salads. You could also take the flowers and put them in oil and, make massage oil with them and rub it over your body. You could work with the whole plant. It's quite amazing. So it's rich in vitamins and minerals. And it stimulates the liver for cleansing. The next plant is violet here, which is so beautiful. Comes like yellow and white flowers too, but my teacher explained that the purple ones are the most potent. But so it's cooling, mucilage, soothing, clearing our sinuses, chronic coughs with dryness. It's rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. It's a gentle lymphatic. So as Karri was talking about moving our lymph system, a lot of these spring plants really come to move the lymph system. And they have an affinity to breast tissue. So also, you can also eat this plant, put it in your salads. And the next plant is stinging nettle. So this is Minnesota superfood. We love working with this plant every year. We take it and work with the top third of it, make it pot herb, put a little butter and salt on it or oil, and it's so good. And there's lots of minerals, chlorophyll, vitamins. It's gently detoxifying for liver, kidneys, and urinary tract. Removes excess buildup. And you can also take it and it's called urtication. You can whip it on your skin or your joints, and it makes it like prickly and tingly, and it awakens and brings blood flow and all this stuff. Some people, yeah, might like it. Some people won't. So the next one is chickweed. It's a diuretic and demulcent for cleansing the urinary system, and it soothes inflamed tissues, mucous membranes. It's high in minerals like silicon, magnesium, draws out waste through the skin, improves metabolism and liver function. This little cutie it reminds me of a little fairy plant. And I also heard when you work with it, often it helps to be able to lose weight and eats away at fat or something. I don't know how it works, but that's what I hear. And then cleavers is the next one. And cleavers is really sweet. They call it bed straw is one of its other names, and deer like to nestle in it in bed there. But this is like a true spring ephemeral. It only comes up in the spring and kind of goes away later in the year. So this one's a little gold mine. It's a little bit sticky. It helps with lymphatic decongestion. It's a detoxifier, and it has an affinity towards this part of our body. The adenoids in behind the ears. So it's also a diuretic. It grows near water, and it works with the waters in our body. It supplies vitamin C and chromium, and works with stagnation in kidneys and bladder. And I'm really excited to be offering a plant walk this spring, which is going to be part of the cleanse as well, because I just love when people get to know the plants and are able to work with them, because it's just such a gift. So next, these enzymes, working with eating raw live foods, and even taking these greens, whenever you walk by and eat them, you're gonna eat enzymes. So enzymes, there's a lot of power in them, in eating the live foods. So after I did the first cleanse that we're going to talk about with the enzymes, I ended up getting this book, The Enzyme Factor, just because I was so curious about these enzymes. And this author has nothing to do with the cleanse that we're talking about. He's just a doctor who's done a lot of colonoscopies and has a whole theories on health and wellness. And he's all about enzymes and how they're synonymous with longevity, because enzymes enhance digestion and nutrient absorption, alleviation of digestive discomforts like bloating and gas, support for dietary needs, anti-inflammatory properties, and reducing systematic inflammation, potential immune system modulation and support, anti-cancer effects by breaking down the protein structures, and improved utilization of minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients. So one thing you talked about that I thought was interesting was SOD, the superoxide dismutase. It's an antioxidant enzyme that we have, and when you get 40 and on, it starts to decrease, or our bodies don't make it or aren't able to work with that as much. And so that's when the lifestyle diseases start to increase. And so it's very important that we're eating foods rich in enzymes to combat the free radicals. And when we cook our foods, it can oxidate it, and that creates free radicals. So if you're going to have a cooked meal, have any one of these foods, with it, or have some supplemental enzymes or different things to help combat and balance the body so you can have that longevity. Because I don't think we were meant to eat as much cooked processed foods the way that we do. So pineapple, papaya, kiwi, mango, ginger, avocado, honey, sprouted grains and legumes, any of the fermented foods, and fruits and vegetables, obviously. So they're all rich in enzymes. So next, I want to introduce Jen, who's going to take us down this journey. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sharri. Sharri's the one that I always call when I'm like, what is going on right now? And she always says, oh, this is what's happening in the cosmos. This is what's happening in nature. Don't worry, you're right on track. And she helps me feel sane. So that feels really good. Yeah, Sharri really is magic. I love you both so much. Thanks for sharing. And I'm going to take it from here and share a little bit about traditional healing, ancestral nutrition, and reading the body, including some ways that you can read your body today here to get an idea of what's going on with you. So go ahead and move on. But maybe I'll I'll speak first about myself. So I mentioned my background is as a nurse, and I was so stressed in the standard healthcare system that I found holistic nursing, and something opened up inside me. I became so curious, went on this long journey of traditional healing, Mayan abdominal therapy, movement, music, ceremony, all this stuff. But shit really hit the fan about 5 years ago after my daughter was born, and we found out that there was mold in our house. We found out that after we'd been there for like a year. And I also had a surgery, which I had never had in my life. And they gave me antibiotics. It went through my milk. It destroyed her microbiome. And so we both were on the serious struggle bus for several years. And I learned in that journey of trying to help her heal and to help myself heal from hives, immune system issues, not tolerating any food. Like my child, I couldn't feed her any food. And people would say, okay, well, what did you feed her? I breastfed her for 2 years straight because she couldn't tolerate any other food. I was going crazy. She wasn't sleeping. She had hives. It was completely terrifying. And so my background is in science, and I became a scientist, and I tried to figure out like what was going on. I thought at first I was like the only one on the planet who couldn't feed her child. And as I dug into these Facebook groups of mold illness and mast cell activation and all these things, I realized, oh my God, there are thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people out there dealing with these same kinds of things. And I almost couldn't believe it. It was both heartening because I felt like I wasn't alone, and it was totally heartbreaking because I realized how many people were seriously suffering. And what I've really found is the root of it has a lot to do with what Karri was mentioning around the microbiome, which is a reflection of the earth and our soils. I learned a couple different numbers, but no matter the number, both are striking, that in the last 150 years since the Industrial Revolution, we have been exposed to 10,000 to 100,000 new chemicals that our ancestors, for thousands of generations before, never were exposed to. They were newly created, tens of thousands of new chemicals. And so our bodies are doing the absolute best that they can do. But as Karri mentioned, like things can get clogged up. And yeah, we're going to go into that a little bit. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So as I'm trying to figure out what to feed my daughter and what to feed myself, how to navigate this, I went to Ancestral Nutrition. And there's a healing protocol called the GAPS Nutritional Protocol. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride helped heal her child of autism through food. And she says animal foods are building and plant foods are detoxifying. And I appreciate this perspective just as in general, because it's like neither one is bad. And in this journey, it's interesting. I've actually gone off the deep end a little bit to like fully carnivore, eating only meat, eggs, and butter, to having moments where I'm eating mostly plant foods. And in my research and in my journey, I've seen these people, like a 85-year-old woman who has only eaten meat and raw dairy for her whole life, and she looks like she's 40. And then I've seen pictures of people, you know, who are juice fasting and breatharians and fruitarians, and so I'm sitting here like, what to eat, what to do, how to take care of ourselves. And what I found for myself living in a northern cold climate is the animal foods really nourish me. And there are a lot of nutrients that we can't get from plant foods that we can only get from animal foods. And when I did the research, it sure does seem that generations before us were all over the world, whatever the ancestral diet all over the world, included animal foods, included fermented foods. You can go to the next slide, included plant foods. So one of the main healing aspects of these ancestral diets is the fermented foods. And the sauerkraut here, the beet kvass. I mean, you can start repairing your microbiome, getting enzymes to your body for literally pennies by incorporating sauerkraut or other fermented foods. Another really popular one is fermented milk, which so many people are like, oh, no more dairy. And I was there, but I reintroduced dairy, fermented raw dairy. There's a whole introduction protocol through this GAPS nutritional protocol, and it's all about cleaning and detoxifying the body. And contrary to what a lot of people might say of like, oh, you need to use only plants and animal foods are bad. I didn't believe this. I still don't believe this. And I still notice places in my body that this way of eating doesn't really feel like it's quite repairing. So I kept digging deeper. Go ahead to the next slide. This enzyme process that I want to share with you about, that we want to share with you about, is based on Chinese medicine, basically alchemy, ancient fermentation process using Chinese medicine, plants and herbs and fruits and vegetables. And I have loved Chinese medicine for years. This was one of the first healing modalities I stumbled upon that just seemed brilliant to me, because this practitioner looked at me and he could like tell what was going on. And then, okay, I want to take your pulses. So he took my pulses. They read the tongue, and we're going to go into this here in a second. But everything in this traditional medicine is based on nature and these 5 elements. Now, there are many traditional healing modalities throughout the world that are using these same elements, but Chinese medicine happens to be intact. It hasn't been destroyed. And so we still have 5,000 years of wisdom that we can draw from this ancient technology of acupuncture and reading the body and the herbs and the foods and all this stuff. So go ahead to the next slide. I'll actually go back. So of these elements, the water element corresponds to the winter time and to the kidneys. The wood element, which is next if you're going clockwise, is the spring energy. It's this energy of like pushing up through the soil. And then you get to the fire, which is the energy of the heart and the summertime. Then there's the earth element, which is like our digestion. It's the earth. It's like late summer. And then the metal element is the element of the autumn. It's the lungs. And each of these have a lot of associations, which we'll go into a little bit. Go ahead. So they have found that there are different elements more active at different times of the day. And I got to know this Chinese medicine clock. You can Google that. TCM clock 3 a.m. I got to know what organs are detoxifying and functioning in the middle of the night. Because my daughter would wake up at the same time every night. So I would tell her practitioner she's waking up every night at 1 a.m. Oh, guess what? That's liver time. So it helped us understand how to treat her. Or, oh, every day at 11 a.m., I don't feel well. Well, that's moving from like the spleen digestion energy into the heart energy. So there's a real like cyclical nature science with all of this. And anytime I have an issue in my body or with my family, I always go to the internet and I search rash, Chinese medicine. Um, Gosh, what like runny nose, Chinese medicine, because there are a lot of blogs out there where they'll break it down. This is the element that's out of balance. These are the foods to eat. And it's really helped me understand how our bodies work in relationship to nature and time and all of it. Next slide. So in Chinese medicine and in other traditional healing, they have found these meridians in the body. These are energy channels that run and all over the body, and they bring energy and vitality to the different organs. And acupuncture, this placing of the needles in the different channels, helps to open up the channel so that that organ can get the energy that it needs. Now, the whole point of this system is to clear blocks so that everything can function properly. And I have had so many incredible acupuncture sessions in my life that I highly recommend exploring this if you haven't already. It can be amazing for stress and for really the long-term healing of organs. Go ahead. So you can look at your tongue. And if you look at your tongue in the mirror, and again, you can Google this or search it. TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, TCM tongue. If you Google that, this is going to pop up and you can look in the mirror. And one of the things that in my tongue that is common is red at the very tip, which is like heat in the heart. So again, then I could look at, okay, what takes care of heat in the heart? And it's bitters. Bitter flavor, by the way, I've heard there are like, what is it, twice as many bitter receptors in the body as sweet, yet so many people are into sweet, but bitter cures, bitter is medicine. So go on to the next slide. The face is going to show the health of the organs. You know, this line in the center of the forehead, this corresponds to the liver. Go ahead and look in the mirror and notice. My husband would come to me and say, like, what is going on under my eyes? And I would look it up, like, kidneys, how can we support that? Or if I have pimples happening in different places, I'll sometimes get things happening down here, and that's like large intestines. So I think, okay, I need to tend to that. This is where the detoxifying regenerative health of like cleaning the body, it shows itself. Your body will show you where it's struggling and where it needs support. Next slide. According to Chinese medicine and other traditional medicines around the world, different organs will carry the different emotional energies. So starting again with the kidneys, that water element, the winter can carry fear. So someone who's experiencing a lot of stress and fear, that really not only taxes the kidneys, but it's also a sign, if you're feeling fear all the time, you might want to tend and strengthen your kidneys. The liver, anger, irritability, like, oh, this feeling. If I'm feeling that a lot, I think like, oh shoot, I need some dandelion root. I need to get my liver energy moving. The lungs, sadness and grief. I had this friend once who I was like kind of on the edge of feeling sad, and he like pushed these acupressure points here and had me say something, and I just busted out crying, and I was like, what is going on? Well, it's because these different points in the body correspond to different emotional states. The heart, joy, it also can be mania if you have trouble sleeping at night. I mean, it can be related to a lot of things, but one could be like excess heart energy. And then another one that I found really important when I was doing abdominal therapy is like the spleen, which in Chinese medicine really relates to the whole earth element digestion. This is related to worry. And so the more we worry, the more it impedes that nice open flow of that spleen digestive energy. And also, if we're worrying a lot, it can be reflective of the health of the spleen and the digestion. So it goes both ways. So then we come into this really cool process of these enzymes and how to clean the body in this really efficient, effective way. We're going to kind of breeze through this, and then we're going to share about the process that we want to take you on this spring, which is a guided cleanse using these enzymes, which are based on these 5 elements. They're created by really alchemists, scientists to clean one organ system at a time systematically, starting with the digestion. And so, Karri, will you take it from here and talk to us about the Zen Cleanz?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jen, for sharing. And also, I love that we can come from different backgrounds and lifestyles and come together to share a foundational truth of like cleaning out the body. So no matter what diet you follow, cleansing is such a huge piece of the puzzle with like heal, giving the body the conditions to come into balance and heal. And so the Zen Cleanz has 5 elements that they do, and they start with the colon and liver, and then they go into the kidneys or lungs, and then kidneys and blood and lymph system. And in the past, I've done so many juice fasts, and I know Jen has said, like, I don't know how you do that. Like, that seems like way too extreme. And not everybody can, because that can be really tough on some people's like nervous system. I know people that have to go to different foods for like nourishment and balance before they can go to deeper levels, or that's just not appealing to them. So what I found with Zen Cleanz is this is like really helpful for everybody, no matter what background. And what I loved, or what was attracted to me about these enzymes, is it goes in and gobbles up old stuff and pulls it out. So when I'm doing my juice fast, I'm not having bowel movements, or I'm doing a water fast and I'm like, I feel like there's stuff that needs to come out, but it's not coming out, even when I would take certain herbs and different things. And so when I did this, the Rainbow Cleanse, you can go to the Rainbow Cleanse, is what I started with because I wanted to, clear pathways. And my first time doing this was last September, and I had such great results. And then I had some life happen where old habits came back in, and I wasn't eating the best. And so I knew I wanted to come back and do another one. And so I have 2 experiences doing this, and I had such profound results with the first one that I was like, wow, that was the amount of stuff that can come out in one day. You would have to juice for a long time. And so I just found it way easier to do that than to guide somebody on this longer juice fast, and your body can be in that autophagy. So remember back when I said, your body is the healer when we give it the space. Just like an animal, when they're sick, they fast. So this helps you get in that fasted state with the nourishment of these enzymes to really flush and open the pathway of the colon and clean the liver, so it can, they both can function more optimally. And then you can start to do other, different, if you're, instead of like killing parasites all the time, it's like clean the terrain so they don't have a host to thrive. And that really aligned with me as far as like wanting to do this and then experiencing it. And the first one, it just helps to get the enzymes to get the waste out instead of recirculate. And I did feel that. And you can go to the next slide. Oh yeah, back to the autophagy. I can share a little bit more. So autophagy just means your body is in that fasted state. So you're not breaking your fast with like having these enzymes because they're pre-digested. They just go in and, like I said, little Pac-Man cleaning up the pipes. And even like, for example, if someone gets a colonic, it can only get to the large intestine. These enzymes can go from the inside out and like pull and move things to push it out. And so I found so much stuff came out, and it helped with like a great reset. Like it was like I wanted to do a really good reset, but my body didn't want to do any more hard fasting. Like health shouldn't have to be so hard. We should be able to just like eat and nourish and like take time to do these cleans out, because like Jen said, we have so many toxins that we're just exposed to. We need to take this time to take a pause and also, sit with all the things that can come up during that time. And we could talk about that too. But the benefits is, enhanced detoxification. So if you're not absorbing what you're eating, so let's say you have a hard time gaining weight, cleaning the colon sounds counterintuitive, but you want to like cleanse and fast to clean things out so you can absorb what you're eating. And same thing too with nutrient absorption. So I noticed after I did the cleanse, I didn't need to eat as much as I did before, especially in the second round. I got into deeper layers. I don't crave the things I craved before. And I follow a different diet than Jen. Like I don't feel my body needs meat and I thrive. I'm more on a plant-based diet, but everybody is different. And the beauty of this program is once you clean things out and you start to introduce foods back in, you can see what makes you feel good and what doesn't. And it doesn't mean there's only one right way. It's every body is different. And we really want to empower you to know your body, to see what you thrive best on. And and once our colons are working better, we can absorb what we're eating, and we might find we don't need as much. Improved immune function. Like if you get sick all the time, I used to lose my voice every year, and I was like, this just happens because it's the weather change. I would blame it on the weather. But I had no idea it was my internal environment. And so energy definitely increases for sure, because you're getting the waste out. So you have more space for the vitality. And then potential weight loss. Like I definitely could have shed some excess weight because I was going through a tough time. So old patterns, like Sharri was saying, like old stuff is coming to like be looked at, to work through. And so I sat with different belief systems and different patterns that were coming in randomly for me to be like, okay, am I ready to let this go? And so weight loss is a side effect of getting the body healthy, if that's the best thing for your body. Some people need to gain and some people will shed what's not serving them. So either way, it's going to be right for your body, because you'll come into balance in the way that your body needs to. And I notice I don't lose as much when I go in that fasted state like I did before, because my body is able to absorb the nutrients better. Spiritual and emotional clarity. Yes, it's pretty profound what can happen when you take a pause and your body just takes a pause and is not consuming all the time. And so I like to say, during that time, to not schedule a ton. You can still work and do things, but taking that time to just have time for yourself. We live in a society where it's like go, do, and this could be a really great time to take a pause and get clear on your next best steps in life. And about the products, they're all organic. This is really important to me, because back to that soil health, I'm really conscious of what I put in my body, like where the food is grown. If you're eating animal products, knowing where your meat comes from, knowing where your fruits and vegetables come from. And it's tough, but we can do the best we can with what we have. But knowing how the food is grown, it's all organic, in patent starter bacteria. So I am not like an expert with this, but I know that they use different sound frequencies while the fermentation is happening. And so the enzymes, it's not like enzymes you can buy, like digestive enzymes or enzymes over the counter. These are completely different and really, really help with efficiently cleaning things out. And I have never experienced anything like it. In one day, Sharri will go into that of what can happen in one day. So the colon flush is like a one-day thing where you're taking enzymes to clear that path, and it removes mucoid plaque. You don't need to do a colonic, and it's 100% organic, plant-based, and it smooths the cleansing process for sure. So it makes it more accessible for people to really clean things out in a powerful but effective way. You can go to the next one, and it tastes good. Well, I think it does. And then, so with the rainbow cleanse that we're sharing about, so you do the colon cleanse, and then they have enzymes to prepare you to go into the liver, and the liver is another one-day process where it gently, it gently like cleanses the liver. Oh, someone asked if kids. I would think that if kids are going to do it, depends on age, and you would just have to like depending on weight, adjust the protocol. But yes, I think, awesome. Thanks, Jen. 8 years and up. Someone just asked a really good question. Would colonics be beneficial for prep? You can, but it's not required. So like if you wanted to do a colonic, I also recommend maybe doing like a lighter diet, if you can even juice the day before. Oh yeah, we'll do questions answered at the end. Okay, we'll get into that. Okay, so to the liver flush, then it goes into the liver, and the liver has so many functions in the body. and it filters the blood, and it's also part of the lymphatic system and the chemical factory that processes all these toxins. And so flushing it helps to get the stones out, and it's amazing. All the people that I've heard that are experienced cleansers and fasters have done a different way of liver flushing, but they found it really helpful to have these enzyme packets. Yeah, and Jen can share her experience with that, where you don't have to drink that salt water, because the way he prepared this kit is it helps prepare the bile ducts to really release, and you're not having to drink that harsh drink. So a lot of people who've had experience with that other one, I haven't, said this was a lot easier. And yeah, and you can go to the next one. And yeah, Sharri can talk about all the stuff that can come out. And this is what inspired me to want to look at it, was like, wow, how are they getting all that out in one day? I've done juicing, and a lot of stuff didn't start releasing till way later in my juicing journey. And this can happen fairly quickly. So I'll pass it to you, Sharri.
Thank you, Karri. Yeah, so prepare yourselves, you guys. This, yeah, can look pretty gnarly. I'll kind of go through it. But I wanted to share one thing. Just as Jen was saying, the emotional and the physical are connected, to the different organs. And the first time I did, the rainbow cleanse, I did the intestinal and the liver, and I didn't really feel a ton of emotions besides elation from releasing all that stuff. I felt high off life of like, oh, I feel so much lighter and better. And the second time I did the liver flush, that night I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like hot-headed, and I felt really, it's beyond it. It was like a emotion of beyond anger. It was a fury and a disgust and it just felt like a darkness that I wasn't able to access in my conscious mind, something that I must have processed. And I'm pretty sure, I know this is kind of personal, but like in the past month or two, our cousin was murdered and there's children involved, and it was really hard to digest that information and process it. And that emotion that I was feeling in the middle of the night reminded me of like how I felt about that situation, which is interesting just to be with that. And I knew when I woke up, I was obviously experiencing that anger and that whatever sensation that was due to the cleanse, that it was releasing and coming out of me. And I was having a little bit of uncomfortability, and I just kind of sat with it and observed it. And then eventually I passed it. And it was really remarkable to experience that. Just, I thought I'd share that. All right, so here we go. Brace yourselves. Let me see. Okay, so this is the mucoid plaque that comes out. This is, different people's. They have like a whole evaluation chart. You can see, look at yours and see what color it is and see what it says about you. Super fun. But anyways, yeah, you get the idea. And so everybody has mucoid plaque in their gut lining. And it's not that it's necessarily bad. We need that lining as a buffer. But just like you would change the oil in your car, you need to change the oil in our body. We have one vessel, one body. Let's take good care of it. So let's clean out the old toxic waste and, build back again in a healthy way. Because as Karri was saying, over the years, we have so much accumulation. And if we've never done it, like, oh, so there we go. More examples of the different kinds you can get. It's pretty gnarly, but amazing. Better out than in, right? Okay. And then at the end, you have the option to add in parasite herbs. They're not included in the cleanse, but you can, we could talk about it if you want after. But yeah, you can get worms out and stuff, but better out than in. All right. So I was really excited about this liver one because I've never done a liver one before this. And the amount of liver stones and like gallstones and things that I got out I was so blown away. I'm like, oh, my mom got her gallbladder removed, or different people you hear getting their gallbladder removed, and you look at this and all the stones that could build up and the inflammation that can happen. And if we don't take care of ourselves and maintain our vehicle, buildup happens and inflammation and pain and all that. So I was just so grateful to get this out. And the second time, like I said, I had that whole experience, and I still got a lot out the second time. So, people, this isn't just like a one-time thing. It's a process. And, as you go deeper, tune into your body when it feels like the right time for you. But it's, I feel like very important to do. Just different examples of some gallstones that can come out in the stool. And then, yeah, we could get sticks and poke around and see them. It's gross. All right, more examples. And yeah, they're like little green things. Then you could have a bunch of little stuff that comes out, little things. If you just think that that's in your liver and like creating blockages. So it just feels so good to release that. Let's get clear. We're full of shit, but not for long. So I'm going to pass it off to Jen.
Wow. Yeah, this has been a really interesting journey. And it's my understanding that this mucoid plaque that they say, this lining of the intestines, this accumulation, is what they would call biofilm. And the biofilm is this little kind of house that protects yeast, parasites, pathogenic bacteria, also good bacteria, helpful bacteria. But if there's an overgrowth and an imbalance happening, it can be almost impossible to like kill off the bad guys, even with like healthy herbal antimicrobials, because they're all hiding in the biofilm. So if you can get rid of some of this old accumulation, then you have a much cleaner terrain, like Karri says, to start eating the fermented enzymes and things like this. So the gallstones, again, it's like the liver is overburdened, working so hard for us, and it's going to sequester off what it can't process in the moment. And so this can be years, decades of accumulation that you can get out in one day. So I felt so excited about this. I was like, wow, let's help the people do this process. And we've created this spring cleanse. Go ahead. And we're going to do it April 14th to May 4th. It's a 3-week container. The first week is all preparation. The second week is the cleanse. And we are encouraging the rainbow cleanse, which is not only the intestinal cleanse, but it's also the liver cleanse. And that takes the time of 1 week. The intestinal cleanse is like 1 day of prep, 1 day of release, and then a few days of this fasting. Now, I'm a thin person and I'm like, no way to fasting. I have too much to do. I have a 5-year-old, I have responsibilities. And I was totally blown away by how amazing I felt the whole week. And I didn't do the full 7 days. I shortened it a couple days because I have a busy life right now and a lot of responsibilities. And it was very effective. The few days of just the enzymes, I felt so alive. And then the 1 to 2 days of the liver process was pretty smooth. And then I was back to eating, dare I say it, the next day I was eating bacon. I stopped eating bacon for a long time, but recently started eating bacon again, and I'm happy about that. But I didn't have to do some kind of 40-day juice fast to get all this crazy stuff out. And then we're going to have 1 week of integration. And the cool thing is you're going to have access to all three of us. We're going to have a Facebook community. We're going to have 3 live Q&As. We're going to teach you more things. And I am going to be teaching during the 7-day fasting second week, the cleanse week. I'm going to be teaching a somatic movement class, gentle, and it'll be 30 minutes a day. So we'll be meeting on Zoom like this, and there'll be music and movement, and we're going to move through these different energy centers of the body to really tune ourselves up and tune in. So I'm really excited about that. We'll teach you how to massage your abdomen. We'll supply you with some meditations. But I think the really important piece about this that feels exciting is the support from the three of us. I had that. I had these two, and every day I would call them like, okay, this is happening now, or whoa, this just came out of me, or whoa, I feel a little weird for a minute. I don't know, did I make a mistake? And they were there for me, and that felt like such a blessing. And so we want to offer that to you, that kind of support. Go ahead and go to the next one. And we say in here, like, guaranteed results. Like, you can't really say guaranteed results, can you, this day and age? But it really is. Like, if you do the process, you will have results. And that's one of the most exciting things about this. So this is a view of our 3-week process. We're going to have some live calls. We're going to have a pre-cleanse call. We'll get you all set up. And then we're going to have live these 30-minute somatic movement processes to connect with your body every day. We're going to guide you. We're going to give you all the various options because there's a flexibility with this that allows you to shorten it a bit, lengthen it a bit, and we're here for you.
Jen, can I chime in really quick?
Yeah.
Just astrologically speaking, we have that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on the 20th, which is the day before we start the cleanse. So it's like just this wow moment. And then also there's the full moon in Scorpio, you know, in the heart of the cleanse, which Scorpio has to do with releasing the old and the shadow work and all that stuff. So it's really like just divinely timed. That's my spiel.
And it's in the spring, which is the liver energy. And a lot of people will notice in the spring that as this energy is trying to come up through the earth, like the plants pushing through the soil, but if the liver is stuck, there can be tension in the body, headaches, trouble sleeping, all this kind of stuff. So this is going to be the perfect timing to really clean up so that that creative force can move through us so that we can have a beautiful spring, summer, and creative season. Go ahead to the next one. So this is for you if you're on any kind of cleansing journey. If you know it's spring, I don't want to read through all this, but you're tired of the diets and the supplements and the long cleanses, or maybe you've never done anything like this. No matter where you're at, we'll meet you where you're at and walk you through this. So we feel really excited about this tool and also the container that we can create for it. So go ahead. So the pricing for this. For the full course that we're offering, it's $7.99. But the interesting thing is, most of that is going to ZenCleanz. We're offering our course and our support for $199, which is really affordable. Like if you go see a massage therapist for an hour and a half, like that's it. That's that price. And we're offering a lot in our package. So we know that people need to be flexible with finances. And so we've offered also a second option for $488, which includes the intestinal cleanse only, but you still get to be part of the course and receive all the support. And then if you decide that you want to do the Zen cleanse, but you don't want the course and the support, that's an option too. And the beauty is we can offer you a 5% discount. So you could go to the website and purchase it, or you can follow our link and get 5% off, which is any little bit helps. Go ahead to the next one. This is what it looks like when it arrives. Really beautiful. They're very specific about their packaging because the alchemy that they've created, these enzymes, they need to be protected in certain ways so that they're really alive. And then it's also going to come with a schedule, a really detailed schedule that you can read and follow. And basically, I just had this on my counter for a few days and followed it, and I was good to go. So I really think, again, of this vehicle of the body. Um, I've been to the car repair shop before, and they're like, okay, your car needs a repair at $1,600. And it's kind of like a punch in the gut, but I do it because my car needs to function, right? This is kind of like that moment. And so even though it might feel like a bit of a gulp to spend $800 on yourself, this is something that really could change your life. Like there are so many testimonials that are on the page of the link that we'll share with you, and also the Zen Cleanz site, where people's lives are changed from this. And I personally am so excited about going through that whole journey. I've done liver flushes before. I've done stuff with the intestines, but there's really nothing like this that I've encountered. And yeah, it feels worth it. So I think the question to you would be, can you envision yourself happy and healthy? And if you envision yourself like fully happy and fully healthy and all those channels open and the organs all functioning properly and the energy flowing and the bile flowing and the microbiome, the earth within you really balanced and supporting you and creating vitamins for you and things like this, like what would your life be like to wake up in the morning with energy, with no pain? To not be feeling like stuck and irritated, to not be feeling sad all the time, to not be feeling scared all the time, and to have this sense of clarity in your body and in your life. I know that's what I want. And I can tune in with my body and notice like where I'm not quite there yet. And so every day we can take steps toward that vision of our beautiful lives. Is this a good moment to open it up for questions? Is this safe for breastfeeding mamas? So yes, it's not recommended in pregnancy, but it can be used for breastfeeding because Well, as long as you like pump and dump while you're doing the detox time. And if that's something that you want to explore, I would reach out directly. Yeah, this slide too. Whether or not you join us, we hope you take steps to restore your health. Now is the time. And we believe it's really possible to repair chronic dis-ease and symptoms that we consider to be symptoms of aging, which actually are likely symptoms of accumulation and toxicity and stuckness in the body. So
Yeah, I can also add, thanks so much, Jen, for sharing that. And I also, from doing this, if we go back to like wanting to eat different cooked foods that are void of enzymes, there's maintenance enzymes too. So it's great to like clear the pathways. But if you're wanting to, between cleanses, it's always nice to like eat cleaner and like know your body more, and like and then in between cleanses, and then going to cleanses, you can go to deeper levels and layers. But there's different enzymes that or that I've been experimenting with, just like seeing how it is in my body. And I've noticed since I did the second one, every time I eat, I have a healthy elimination, where before it was really sluggish or slow. So some people think if I go to the bathroom every day, I'm not constipated, but if you eat 3 times a day, you should go 3 times a day. So there's, it's just a really helpful tool, whether you're a practitioner wanting to share this with people and help people, or you're wanting to experience it with yourself or help your kids. Some of them, like one of my favorite one, tastes like Fun Dip. I don't know if you ever had Fun Dip when you were little, but it's really good. So there's, all kinds of stuff that will be able to support you during the process. But I just also wanted to share that once you have this experience, you could take this with you and see how this can help you in our modern lifestyle. Sometimes I want to travel to Europe and try the different foods, and maybe foods that I don't normally eat on a regular basis, but I can bring these with to help me break it down if they are void of all the enzymes that we should originally be having. So it can help in this modern world.
a few questions that are coming up are, what does the prep look like? Well, interestingly, I started it when I thought I was going to start it one day later, and thought maybe I would just have juices or something the day before, which I don't like to do, especially when it's cold outside, because my body likes to be warm and nourished. But I messaged them and I said, it looks like with my schedule, I need to start tomorrow, but I just ate like a whole dinner. And they were like, go for it, try it out. And I did. And it was perfect. It went fine. So you could do a prep, and you also don't need to do a prep. And then you want to know what to expect during the 7 days, the 21st to the 27th. If you follow the link that we'll give you for basically all the details that you'll need, you'll see a calendar, and that will give you an idea. But basically, I did my life like normal. There's the day where you do the prep for the intestinal, so you're like taking stuff every hour, and then there's the release day, and same with the liver. I would recommend being somewhere stable on the release day, like maybe not getting on an airplane, traveling around like that. But otherwise, I was shocked at how this allowed me to continue doing my life. And yeah, it didn't really get in the way of it.
I have something to say about the prep time. You don't, like Jen was saying, you don't really need to do anything. I just know for me, it was a big investment to make, and I wanted the enzymes to really work on my body rather than processing old foods. So the first time I did it, I did a juice fast the day before, just so I was more clear, and then the enzymes could get more work done. So we're just going to share options of how you can maximize, or how you can ease in, but nothing's required. So we're just kind of showing potentials. And I know Karri probably would have some suggestions for prep as well that are optional.
Which is something that we're going to go over in that prep week, of all the different options and things that you can do, which is really nice to have, because even for me, like I've done this kind of stuff in the past, but the box arrived and I was a little bit like, okay, well, what now? So someone's asking how many days in between the two cleanses. So the first day is taking the like pretty pleasant tasting fiber and enzymes for the intestinal cleanse the next day. And then there are several days in between that and taking the stuff for the liver flush. Now, the rainbow cleanse technically has enough enzymes for 7 full days of that process, but I shortened it to 5. So I was really just fasting for, what was that, 2 days in between, which was enough for me. And also, I was surprised I didn't have blood sugar issues. I wasn't tired, and I wasn't feeling like anything other than like clear and bright and good. And so when we're not eating food, this is when the body can go into this state called autophagy, which is where it goes in and starts cleaning and letting go. And the enzymes are taking that to the next level. It looks like we have a question, Jennifer. I don't know how to unmute you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry, I may be going beyond the Zen Cleanz, but I was looking at the website and there's other ones that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And I have a question, if it's okay to jump into something after this, or how long you would wait until you do something more, because I have a specific problem with veins, and I'm just wondering about, I think it was the fire, or I think it was number 3 or 4, I can't remember. So like if I order this, I kind of want to order the whole thing, but who knows?
Yeah, no, that I'm glad you asked that question, because that we're guiding people through this, but you can definitely get the other one. So the first time I did it, I just started with the rainbow because I wanted to feel it in my body and understand it in that way. And then the second time I was like, I'm doing all of them because I had such good results with that one. I'm doing the lung, the kidney, the blood and lymph, like all of it. And so yes, you definitely can. I would do the rainbow kit first and then go into the other one. So you do the lung, the kidney, and you can do the lung, kidney.
Do I have to do them in order, or can I jump to the one that I'm hoping is specific for my issue that I'm dealing with?
They highly recommend to clear the pathway of the colon first. So the colon and liver, so the pathways are open for everything else to clean, because that is the importance of cleaning out the trash, so that way the body can heal itself. So that's the foundational. But the other ones, you could do all of those at the same time. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the lung and the blood and lymph and kidney all at the same time. Now that's not a requirement for people, but yes, if you have something you're working on, you're like, I'm going in, I want to do this reset and just go for it, you can get all of the kits. And we're happy to support you with that. But starting with the
I guess I'm confused. Can I do the rainbow cleanse and then can I jump to the lymph one? Or
yeah,
do I have to do the other 3 first? They're laid out like 1, 2, 3, 4 with different colors for different things.
I mean, they have a suggested order, but it's not a necessity. I say for sure do the colon and liver, and then you can move to the whatever one is calling to you. But I kind of followed. I was gonna do them all separate until I found out you can do them all together. But the lung is the one they say to move to next. But you can do the blood and lymph or the kidney one. All 3 of those you could do at the same time, or one, or pick a couple. That's up to you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but those are good questions. And then we're going to talk too about the importance of preparing if you can, and then there are the options for that, and then integrating, because that's such a huge piece of there's a saying, any man can do a fast, but it takes a wise man to break a fast. And I've learned this the good way and not good way, multiple times. And so I'm happy to continue to share that wisdom with reintegration and back in all different lifestyles. So Jen has, her, what makes her feel good, and I have what makes me feel good, and that can look different, and that's okay. And I love that we can come together and share what's good for us, and we want to help you know what's good for you. And so really taking this time to take that pause to see what's good for your body. And I wanted to see if there's another question. Oh, how much time between cleanses? I guess maybe expand on that question.
I think I answered that one already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
They're the 7 full days with the 2 kind of on the book end.
Oh, yeah.
Or shorten it.
Shorten it. Mm-hmm. And you're fasting, even though you're taking something like every half hour in the first day, you're not eating, but you're not hungry. And yeah, and it was great to witness Jen go through that and be like, I'm okay, and I'm feeling like really energetic, or like, excited, and hearing Sharri say like, I have this intense sense of happiness after I released after one day. So and it's pretty profound. And I had another person say I was able to, it's so much easier to eat the raw food lifestyle that she wants to eat afterwards. Like, she's like, it's easier to stay satisfied now because she cleared out old stuff. And so yeah, so people have different experiences afterwards of how they feel after. And so yeah,
I just wanted
huh?
to clarify, that was my question, that how much time in between cleanses. I may have gotten confused when Sharri had mentioned, and then I did it again. Was that like in the same 3-week period, or was that like I did it 6 months later? Like I wasn't sure, like, how long does this last, or the results of this?
Yeah, I think some people even do, like Karri was saying, like pushes where they can do them back to back. Whatever your health goals are, it's different. I waited about 6 months, not for any other reason other than, and actually when I first did the Zen Cleanz, I was like, all right, I'm good for 5 years. And then I ended up feeling the call again, yeah, to tend to the liver situation. But yeah, so I waited 6 months, but I think you could do them closer together if you really wanted to go after it.
Yeah, like there's a testimonial of somebody that's like realigning her spine because she had extreme scoliosis, and she's done like, I don't know, over 20 liver flushes or something. And some people do like once a month. So yeah, depending on what your goals are, you don't have to do that, but it's nice to just like have the first time experience and seeing how your body responds. And like, I knew I wanted to do another one because I felt like, yeah, that was great to get that out, and I know there's still more. And then life can happen, and I'm glad that I had the enzymes so I didn't have to accumulate so much more as I moved through and had to go through stuff. And then yeah, it's just nice to have these tools. And I wish I had the support that we're offering. Like Jen just recently led a women's retreat that was amazing and beautiful, and the way she held space. And I'm just so grateful for like the container that she holds and shares with it, the movement and getting stuff out of the body. And with, yeah, Sharri sharing about the herbs and what's happening and how we can use this energy to help propel us to live our highest purpose. And it's just nice to have that supportive container that I didn't have. I had so many questions. And so it's nice to have people to count on, and yeah, be there for support. And community is such a huge piece for healing. And so coming together and sharing what's possible, and then you never know the ripple effect you have. So if you're feeling good and you share something, you never know who you can help with their health journey.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Last call for questions.
And the abdominal massage is going to be a treat, because that's I feel like every woman should know this technique. And it's so helpful to help move things through. So we're helping externally as we're working internally. So yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff. And then I'm happy to share different detox supportive tools that are really helpful to assist the body in the process that you can take with you for life. So there'll be different bonuses, and you can see all of that in the link. I posted the link there, so you can check it out. And then of course, if you have questions, let us know. Does it make you stinky? No, it gets the stinky out. So, with detox, so many things can happen and stuff can come out. So when I started to cleanse my body, when my body starts to get the waste out, I've gotten tonsil stones out. Now those are stinky, the stuff out of the colon can be stinky, but you better out than in. Old stuff that can get stuck. My dad used to want us to get his the boil he had on his back, and I had to pop that and get that out. It was disgusting. It was so stinky. So yes, all the sewage can be disgusting, but my dad couldn't reach it, and I had to help him feel better. And oh my gosh, my friend Davina, I think she is on here. Yeah, she is. Had to help him out. And we have funny stories about that, but I don't want to gross you out. But anyhow, yes, it can be really stinky. The sewage that's stuck. And that's why we're doing this, is to get the stink out, get the funk out, right? To make way for all the beautiful rainbow colors of nutrients to come in and hydrate and help us feel good, and the importance of like knowing where our food comes from. And that's a whole nother topic. So attending to the soil is a real thing. My I try to grow as much as I can in my backyard, and I noticed I wasn't tending to the soil. I was void of chemicals, but I wasn't tending to this terrain of what I needed to grow healthier food. So this fall I did that. I put more goodness back into the soil. And so sometimes, you know, you can only detox and take all the stuff out, but you really need to replenish. So there's a season and a time to like clean and get the stuff out, and then a time to balance and nourish and eat with the seasons. I'm a huge believer in that, of like eating cooling things in the summer and warm things in the winter, and different herbal teas that we'll share that are really helpful to help the process, and stuff that you can take with you forever. And then you can have these processes to have, you know, through your different seasons of life. And a lot of our issues get stuck in our tissues. And sometimes, I didn't share this before, but the emotional stuff can get stuck. And sometimes when we start to heal the physical, that can come to the surface. So what I realized was like forgiveness, and I realized my patterns of wanting to stuff and suppress. And so, yeah, it just gives space. It gives you that pause to really go within and start to clean within, and all the cool stuff that comes out, and surrender to what it is. Like I had to sit in my darkness for a while, just like a seed in a, you know, that's growing the roots to then sprout out. And sometimes we need to be in that phase, and it's not a bad thing. It's just part of nature, part of life. And I was in that darkness from October till recently. So I was, but I surrendered and allowed space to feel and heal. Oh, there's my dog. So yeah, and it's all part of the process of health and healing, and then helping us understand why these things are coming up, and getting them out of the body, and having processes like embodiment movement to get it out, you know, physically, and have these tools for life.
Awesome. Thank you, Karri. I wanted to comment too to Lauren. We were talking about the pores, and you're kind of worried about that. I feel pretty positive that the enzymes are so good at removing, like doing the work and removing, that it's not going to be like, because it doesn't recirculate the toxins and stuff. It draws them out. So I feel hopeful for you.
One of the other things I love about it is it's actually alive. In the GAPS nutritional protocol, they've basically said, if you're not eating ferments, you're not on GAPS, you're not healing. And we can eat all the greatest foods in the world, but if they're not alive, or, you know, even if I cook my meat, I'm going to eat it with something alive so that I get those enzymes. Now, these herbs and these concoctions are fermented with bacteria. And so not only are we letting go of this old biofilm mucoid plaque, but we're putting in a vast array of nutrients and biome that actually is going to help us. So that feels exciting to me, because it's not just like taking an enzyme supplement, which I've taken before and I've given to my daughter before, and they can be helpful. This is like next level alchemy. Any other questions before we close it out? I think I kind of want to close it out with a song with a little bit of movement. We've been sitting here for a while. Any more questions before we put on a song? All right. Okay, I'm going for it. This song is called Strongest Medicine. And I want to invite you, if you want to, if you're not driving, listening to the replay, stand up. I've been asleep for way too long, chasing the paper, burning down. Hey. So we're sharing with you all these different kinds of medicine, but really, love is the strongest medicine there is. I want to invite us to open our hearts a little bit by taking a big breath in. Stretching open the front of the heart. Exhale, opening the back of the heart. Exhale, opening the front of the heart. Need a few more times on your own. Spine stretch. Your willingness to open your heart to this life, to this moment, to whatever you're facing. Maybe following your heart in a circle as if you're tracing around the sun. Feeling a stretch on your side body. So I get back to my roots. offering yourself a deep breath. Switching directions, circling the other direction, like you're moving around the room. Following your heart. And we're not here to sell you something. We're here to offer you something really beautiful that can help your life, but it's up to your heart to decide if it's right for you. Now find the rhythm and offer yourself a little bit of dance, almost like your heart is your playing music. I don't know if you noticed I wore my rainbow shirt for the Rainbow Cleanse.
Hey, let's be honest, love is the strongest sweet medicine that we're dealing. So shake off the sickness, let what is built in take you up higher,
Circling my
higher
arms
now.
around.
Because what do you wanna show? House full of things and your heart half full. Choose what you wanna see, cause you are enough, you're everything.
Bringing that feeling into your heart, into your body, of what it might feel like to be free of the funk. Clear and healthy and happy, what would you do with your life? Where would you go? How would you feel? What might that feel like? Bring it into the now. Following your heart back to your seat if you want, or wherever you want to go. But I think we're going to close it down now, and just feeling really grateful for, wow, there's still 23 of you here, 20 people here. Feeling really grateful for your attention, which really shows me your care for yourself, your care for your life, and this vision that you have for health and vitality. And so whatever you choose to do, whether you purchase the Zen Cleanz to do on your own, or whether you join us in this container, or whether you go to the grocery store and buy some like alive sauerkraut in the grocery store, the refrigerator section, or start eating more live fruit. Whatever you choose to do, just wanting to say thank you so much for your time and sending blessings to you wherever you go next.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jen, for this vision and bringing us all together.
It's been wonderful. So thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the song link here real quick. Someone asked for it. Love this song. Love really is the strongest medicine. And it's like, if we are spiritual beings having a human experience in this divine meat suit, and we have all these channels, what we're really connected to is love, divine love. And the more we can open the channels, the more we can be filled with that. And the more we can exude that, the more we can just receive that within our beings. And so that's really the core of why I'm here. And yeah, let's all rise together. Let's do it. Love is the strongest medicine. I could probably go on and on, but I probably should end this. We're going to get you an email soon with the link and with details. And yeah,
Yep.
reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, thanks. And looking forward to spending more time with you all during those 3 weeks. And we also have we forgot to mention, a private Facebook group. So there'll be that community support there, as well as the live calls in the schedule. So yes, thank you everyone. And I'll stop this recording now. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that.